Afternoon, everybody. This is my VR for Buck Run 11 August Prepper Challenge. He wanted to see our food preparations for storage, what we do or what we have prepped for. And so this is kind of just a VR for that. It's going to be pretty quick. The first thing I want to talk about is canning. I just bought this canner, which is a water bath canner, pretty cheap, easy to do. However, I found out that for me, living by myself, trying to can without having a large garden, this really isn't a viable option for me. Now, in a grid down situation where we prep for, where we have no other means of prepping, say electric or anything like that, I always look for the option to be able to use a fire. Not electric, not propane, not gas, but fire. And I went around this past couple of weeks looking for sales on vegetables, and I won't lie to you, for the cost to actually get started canning, and for canning for one person, for the amount of vegetables and stuff I eat, I don't really see where this is cost effective for one person. And the green beans, good examples. Green beans, by the time I can, let's say six pints of green beans, got them put up and the work and everything, to run around getting them and all that, I could have bought a case of 24 green beans, or a can of green beans. So I just didn't see where it was that cost effective myself. If I had a big field where I had a big garden where I could harvest a lot, then I could see it. Also, something that I found out, that a lot of the stuff that I would like to can, say meats and everything like that, it suggests not even trying in a water bath, that you really need a pressure canner. So I have started looking online, Craigslist, eBay, newspaper and stuff like that, for somebody that's trying to sell a pressure canner. I did find one that was for $60, and I can't get a hold of the lady. I was going to go get it, but I can't get a hold of the lady. Like I say, I just bought this kit. It comes with the strainer and colander and all the other stuff that goes with it. Now, I've always pickled. Pickling's pretty easy. So, I mean, I've always had jars. Most of the time I do cayenne peppers, do the regular pickles and stuff. I pickle beets. Pickling's pretty easy. So, I mean, don't really need a canner for all that. Now, for the three things that I really do a lot of, and I find, because of the way I eat, and for the amount that I put up, I do a lot of fermenting. And if you're not familiar with fermenting, it's mainly doing sauerkrauts and kimchis. I eat a lot of kimchi. I have a case of 24 of these jars here, and it's pretty much the same as pickling. You just got to make sure your jars are sanitized. You use a lot of people say you got to use a crock and all this. You don't have to use a crock. Normally, once I have all my kimchi prepped and everything, I put it in the jars and let the jars do that. One of the reasons why I find fermenting as an option for prepping is that you can actually take crocks. I have one crock, and it's got stuff in it right now. I can't pull it out and show it to you, but you can actually leave your kimchi and stuff in these crocks through the hottest of summers, winters. Most of the time during the summertime, there's ways of doing it where you bury the crocks. A lot of different options for fermenting. Like I say, I really like kimchi. I eat a lot of kimchi. The second main way that I do my preps for my vegetables and stuff like that, I do a lot of freezing, whole lot of freezing. It just seems to work better for me because I only freeze quarts. And I don't never freeze gallon stuff or anything like that. The only time I ever freeze gallon stuff is when I make big pots of chili or big pots of spaghetti sauce. But other than that, most of my prep is freezing or fermenting. However, dehydrating. I have started getting into dehydrating this summer. I did tomatoes. I probably finally did have enough tomatoes that I could have probably canned. I might could have canned maybe about 8-9 quarts of tomatoes. But I dried tomatoes, bananas, apples, anything I can dry, I dry if I possibly can, because I do a lot of camping. So dehydrating is the best way to carry your foods and stuff when you're going camping. Now this dehydrator right here, I bought this in 1989, and it has served me well. There's more trays to go on it, but I didn't bring all the trays out. This is plenty enough trays to show you my dehydrator. Another thing that I would like to start learning, I would kind of like to learn how to salt cure and sugar cure, because meats is what I really want to start canning. Chicken, hamburger, bacon, all that type of stuff. And from what I understand, a water bath just won't get it. I need a pressure washer. Now, at Buck Run's suggestion at the beginning of the challenge, he suggested this book for people that doesn't know that much about canning. So I went ahead and bought this canning. I was starting to get upset because I couldn't find nothing in here that said anything about for beginners. And there is a small part back here in the back for beginners. So I'm going to look more. Buck Run, I appreciate the suggestion, but I'm going to look for another book that is more geared to beginners canning. Because this is a lot of recipes. There's no doubt about these recipes, but I don't see none of these recipes that. I'm a simple eater. Besides the kimchi, I'm a simple eater. Salt and pepper, and that's it. But anyway, between this book, the internet, naturally, I don't have TV. I don't have TV, don't have phone. I'm a minimalist pretty much, besides the place where I live at. So I get a chance to do a lot of reading, a lot of YouTube, and I think a lot of us do a lot of YouTube, especially the preppers. However, and here's another book that I have found. I bought this book about, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. This is a real good book that shows a lot about canning, a lot about salt, sugar curing, smoking, dehydrating, freezing, a little bit of everything in this book. If you haven't picked this book up, if you're a prepper or a homesteader, this is a very good book. There's other books out there that's just as good as this, but this is a good book. It talks a little bit about everything when it comes to homesteading and everything. But anyway, this ain't no book review. And pickles, they come out good. This is actually the third jar. This is my last jar here. I really like these pickles. It was came out as a kind of like a mixture of bread and butter and kosher. So, but I really like them because I don't really like bread and butter, but the way they come out, they kind of taste like bread and butter, but with the sourness of kosher. Anyway, that is my VR, and that's my response for the August Prepper Challenge. Kimchi, I might can talk a little bit more about kimchi. There's hundreds and hundreds of recipes for kimchi, sauerkraut. Everybody has their own way of doing it. You can do every kind of cabbage there is. Basically, you can do cucumber. You can do fish. You can actually it's kind of like pickled fish, but you can ferment fish in a kimchi concoction. So anyway, I'll take you in here and show you the little freezer I have. But this is like I say, this is a big enough freezer for me. It's kind of empty now because all I got in it is some fish and a few hams and turkeys that I bought on sale. But yeah, see, that's my freezer I use. Those are my water buckets there that I use for water filtering. And let's say I'm a minimalist. No kitchen table, no nothing. Just basically what I need. And then my water that I keep, I filter that. I've got a 460 gallon bladder underneath my house or underneath my trailer. And but anyway, it's kind of bare in there. But there's fish and stuff down in the bottom of it. You ain't gonna be able to see that because it's so dark in there. Okay, hope y'all enjoyed. Brandy's sitting over here in the corner. I had to shut the blind because she's in rare form today. She's barking at everything. Y'all have a good evening and bye.